Okay.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson, and we're here in Latvia, and we just finished First Steps to Success, and I encountered many people who had stories, but I wanted to share 3 in particular that completely blew my mind. There's so many. I mean, I would be here till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning if we were to interview every single one of the stories that I got to hear. But I felt that this is so important for you to hear. If you need that shot in the arm and you need to be inspired to move yourself from where it is that you're at right now, this woman and her story is going to do that for you. Tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Ina, and I'm from Riga, Latvia.
Latvia. So this is a small little country that's
Very
former
small.
Soviet Union, former communist nation, and formerly completely controlled, not being able to travel, can't serve God, right? Can't start a business, can't do any of these things. This is the kind of place that Latvia was just 20 years ago. And so here you heard about DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success. How did you hear about us?
Yes. One friend of mine saw your interview with Benny Hinn.
Really?
Yes, and she called me and she said that you will be in Latvia. And it was 1.5 years ago when you came here in May. So I booked because I knew I want to be there. And I went there with my brother, and because I bought him that as a gift of opening office. And I was sitting there, and my brother kept on like punching me and saying, "We have to go to Creating Dynasty. We have to go." And actually, while you were speaking, he was Googling and checking the tickets that we must go there.
Wow. So you came out to Creating a Dynasty a year ago.
Yes.
After attending a First Steps to Success, obviously.
Yes.
After
Yes.
attending First Steps to Success. And at the time, where was your life? What were you doing?
At that time, I was working from my home. I had my company, but I was working in export and import, and I was managing 2 clients, serving them, sending food export to United States.
Okay. So you're exporting food to the US.
Yes.
And you have how many employees at that time?
0.
0. So it was just you,
Yes.
working from home, export business. How much were you making a year doing that?
Approximately 50,000.
Okay, so you're making $50,000 a year. Not bad. I mean, that's a good income, right? You have no employees, you're working from home, and that's it, all right?
Yes.
So after Creating a Dynasty and First Steps to Success, what has happened?
So after I plugged in to Dani Johnson, what happened was I gained back first of all, I gained back my confidence. I got rid of my fears because I had so many excuses. I had the excuse that I'm a woman, I don't have a partner to help me in business, I don't have investors. Unfortunately, I don't have a big heritage that I could use.
Right.
In our country, it's very hard to get a loan, so I understood that I don't have a startup money. All I had was Dani Johnson and my faith in God, who can create a miracle.
Yes.
And actually, it's all it takes.
Yes.
And after that, what happened, I received a phone call from one of my persons that I knew, and he called me and he said, "Okay, I have this client in Spain who would like to work with you." But I was afraid, and I asked God, "God, do you want me to do this?" So I was driving in my car, and I bought the library of Dani Johnson, and I was listening all the time these materials. I was plugging in, and I turned the Prophet Skills. And the minute I turned it on, Dani was saying, "I will tell you a story." And by that time, I knew that she sells by stories. So, and she was telling about her friend who had one shop, and she was afraid to open the second one. And she asked one question. By sitting and doing what you are doing now, will you be able to reach all the goals you have? And my heart goes for orphans, my heart goes for older people. And I knew I won't be able to build proper orphanages in Latvia, proper old people houses in Latvia, if I stay where I am.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm in. I opened my office, I employed a team, I created a network of outsourcing, big network, like me too, big network. And within this year, my turnover from 50,000 went to 500,000, 500,000 euros.
Okay, so there's so many different directions I can go with this one right now, okay? So first of all, this is amazing. So you went from $50,000 in a year to $500,000 this year in 11 months. So you were at Dynasty 1 year ago.
Yes.
You attended First Steps to Success last year, right? Plugged into creating a dynasty and have been pressing play ever since.
Yeah, and I attended almost every event, every replay we had in Latvia.
So here she's attending event after event after event at First Steps to Success. She's pressing play, listening to the audios. As you heard her, she bought the whole library and started listening to all the training. And that is what pushed you over the edge. Because it's not about always hearing something you have never heard before. It's about hearing what you need to hear when you need to hear it. And something that you said earlier when we had you on stage was about that you love your customers, right? And that's something that's really big that I drive home all the time, right? Is to love your customers, love your staff, treat them with honor and respect, and treat that one customer that you have like they are your best, they're your biggest, they're their most important customer that you have. And then that begins to multiply your influence, and people start to send referrals and all of that. So she went from 50,000 to 500,000 in the last 11 months is what it was. Because the last 11 months, that's 10 times the growth. Come on, friend. That's insane. And now here she is in this country, her country, providing jobs.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, that's amazing, right? And here's something that's so important. Because oftentimes that if we decide to stick our neck out and start a business, we sometimes can get ourselves in a comfort zone. And I love the part of Profit Skills, which is inside of Unlimited Success. If you don't have that audio series, it's 10 CDs. It's just packed with training, packed with skill development to be able to help you raise your income at whatever it is that you do. In her case, she makes food. She ships it across the world. And now you're no longer just shipping to the US, but now you have what?
No, after I just, it's simple. You just follow the instructions. You don't add, as Dani says about the cheesecake. You don't add anything. You don't take away anything. Just, follow the instructions, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So I followed the instructions about sending thank you cards.
Yes.
I received phone calls with tears. You won't believe it, because in Russia, in all of these countries, they don't have it. They don't have that culture.
Mm-hmm.
And people, and every time I was sending an invoices or documents, I just added a thank you card.
Yes.
Just thank you for helping, thank you, and I was forming them, and they were calling me back just to say thank you. Nobody ever did this. And there were multi-million-dollar companies, and these employees never received that. So I was doing that. I was treating my smallest customers, and I was so faithful with the little.
Yes.
My employees were laughing that I'm kissing the boxes.
Yes.
Because I was treating them with honor, with respect.
Yes.
And what it lead me to, my smallest customer led me to the biggest customer in the Europe.
That's crazy.
Yes.
And from what? It's all about reaping and sowing. It's about how you're treating every one of those customers. It's how you're treating people in your community. This is the part that I want us to go next. Mm-hmm. You have a heart for the poor. You have a heart for the orphan. You have a heart for the elderly. And so even though you went from 50,000 to 500,000, you've been using those principles of still being faithful with the little, and now, because your goal, your dream was not to make $1 million, $500,000, or any of that for yourself. Your goal was to give more, and that's why you started your business. And when I heard your story, I was like, man, that's me, right? The whole reason why we started Destiny Global 12 years ago was to give more. That was the whole purpose of starting that business. I wasn't satisfied with how much I was giving, and the giving was obviously based on how much it was that we had for our income for our family. And I wanted to give more. I wanted to give more of myself. I wanted to give more of the talent and skill to people. I wanted to help people. But most importantly, I wanted to be able to give, check it out, at least $100,000 a year. That was the goal. That was my first minimum goal. I want to give $100,000 a year. Today, we're giving about $300,000 a month. I will never forget the first time I got to write a $10,000 check. I was like in tears, blown away. I remember the very first time that my husband planted this vision inside of me to give $1 million a month away, which is still my goal, and I'm working towards that goal of being able to give $1 million a month away. And I'm going to achieve that, by golly.
Amen.
Yes. So you have that same kind of a heart.
Yes.
Was to use your gifts, talents, and abilities to give to those who are in need. And what are you doing now with all this surplus, with all this extra of income? How much of your income have you set aside to give away?
I will tell you that because of my past, I said to God, I mean, okay, you can use Dani, it means you can use me.
Yes.
So I said, God, here I am. I'm just a vessel. And I remember sitting on my knees and I gave the papers of my company to God. And I have on my business cards that I'm managing director. I'm not the owner, he is the owner.
Amen.
And I stretched my hands and I said, Lord, these are your hands. Whatever you put here,
Yes.
I promise I will be faithful.
Yes.
And I started with being faithful was a little.
Yes.
I maybe didn't have much to give, but I thought for me, what is the most expensive thing? It's time.
Yes.
So I started to give time.
Yes.
I started to pour time. I started to go even to some trips to orphanages and just pour my love, my time. I said, God, well, you give me money, I will be faithful with what I have. And then I started to bless. I was starting to look for good ground where to bless.
Yes.
And I started to give. And I made a commitment because at one dynasty, there was a lady who stood up and she said from every first sale she has with a customer, she gives it away for orphans and elderly people. And I did that commitment as well with God. I said, God, every first client that comes into my office, I will give it as a sacrifice, as a thanksgiving offering to you for what you have done in my life.
Yes.
And I have been, since that, I have been doing that. God amazingly has led into my life the right people to give. I'm supporting orphanages in Ukraine after all the bombing and war there. I'm supporting daycare centers in Latvia that care for street kids who are from families with addicted relationship and parents who are beating them and so on. And you know, when I received a letter from these kids, they were 12 years old. In Latvia it happens. They never saw the sea. And they brought me back from the sea pictures where they were drawing the sea. And sea is 30 minutes drive.
Wow,
it's not
it's
away.
not far.
It's not far. And they were sending me these pictures and showing me, you know, how the waves look and what the fun they had. I realized it's worth it.
Amen.
So I'm trying to give away like from 30 to 50% of my income every month. And I think Dani will agree that when you see that, you understand it's worth it.
Yes.
It's worth the sleepless nights, it's worth the praying, it's worth the fasting, it's worth the stress.
Yes.
It's
So are
worth
you
the
married?
purpose. No.
You're single?
Yes.
And no kids?
No.
Single woman. Wow. That's amazing. So there you have it. First steps to success. You better get registered now. Followed up with creating a dynasty, plugging in. This woman has the library. She's listening daily. She's applying, as you heard, following directions. The directions that we teach you, they work. There's no excuse. There's no reason for your life to stay exactly where it's at. You have a step right in front of you, and you need to take that very next step right now. Right now. Get over to the website, DaniJohnson.com. That's D-A-N-I Johnson.com, because this right here is living, breathing, beautiful proof that if you listen, you pay attention, you make that investment into yourself, even if you can't afford it, you find a way to make that happen. You get yourself in front of that 3-day training seminar. And if you have been to First Steps, you get yourself there again, as you heard, again and again and again, making that investment, learning the skills, follow directions, and these are the kind of results that people are seeing from doing that. So I hope that today blessed you. Please do yourself a favor and stop whining about your circumstances. Stop wondering about what your next step is. It is time to step up and take that step that we just presented in front of you. Do it now. Share this video with others. There's other people right in her same situation, the same situation that you heard the other stories that we've been sharing with you. You can make a difference in someone's life. You can be the one that saves a marriage. You can be the one that helps somebody pay off $70,000 worth of debt. You can be the one that helps the single mother with 2 little boys, one of which is a brand new little baby, get on her feet and help to provide for her family on her own by starting a little business. You can be the one that helps someone like this learn about these types of materials and take a business from $50,000 to $500,000 in 11 short months. So get going. let's do this. We have a world to change. There's people that are hurting. They need you. They need us. They need us to gather, to rally, and to make things happen. So get on with it right now. Turn me off and go get it done. God bless you. Thanks for joining us today.